only about my destination and where I get to, that I'm not particularly engaged with and conscious of and mindful of the process. With the notion of starting, I can let each moment in the journey be a measured, conscious movement forward. A start is my step. And what's my step now? What's my step now? Sometimes it might be an enormous step. That first step onto the moon. That step onto the moon came from how many steps? How many technological steps that people had to make to have that happen? If we pause and just consider all of the steps that have led us here, doesn't that become a source of inspiration, of awe and delight and wonder? As long as our eyes are only peeled to that destination, rather than what it's taking us, rather than the journey, then we are missing out on a tremendous amount of joy. We are missing out on a tremendous access to wholeness, to recognize that of all of the contributions that are going in to making these moments, this moment that we have right here and right now. Now, to start, there may be times that we're like, heck no, I can't do it. I don't have the wherewithal. I don't have the strength. I don't have the ideas. What are you talking about? Start? Well, sometimes starting means relying on others. If my mother had just delivered me and then walked away, can you imagine that for anybody? Your mom just delivers you and leaves you as a little pile. Phyllis, you had 7 children. I bet there were times that you thought about like leaving the little one, and it's like you might have entertained that notion, but nobody could survive. We're not equipped. We're not designed that way. Little baby turtles, they get out of their egg and they can do it. But human beings aren't designed that way. And a lot of times the teachings we hear are, oh, be independent. You can be independent. You can do this on your own. Someday you'll be enough and you'll do it on your own, because in the meantime, you're a little crap that you can't do it on your own. Starting may mean leaning into somebody else. And as human beings, we've all had to start by leaning into others. Again, Phyllis, you couldn't have left any of your kids to start on their own. And I don't mean to pick you out, but you're just the one that comes to mind, because you're the one I know on this thing. I'll say a start for Victor, because Victor has started this series of stories with characters, and in starting it, Victor has leaned into others. Victor isn't just relying entirely on himself. I mean, he's got the ideas, he's got the genius, but he's leaning into publishers. He's not selling all the books from his own house. He's not like the Girl Scouts running around door to door with his book saying, do you want to buy my book? You want to buy my book? But he's got this genius and he's got this start, and this start leans into others. How much are we willing to lean into others? How much are we willing to rely on others? Finally, the fourth piece is around ourself. In order to do things for others, a lot of times we have to start with ourselves. And I don't know about you, but I was certainly taught the notion of self got confounded and corrupted with and combined with selfishness. That if you think about yourself, you're not thinking about others. But as we all have heard, if anybody's ever been on a plane and they talk about the mask coming down, they tell parents, put your own mask on first, then take care of the little one next to you. If you put the little one's mask on first and don't do yourself, you may have passed out. And then great, the child's great, but you're passed out. And your child's not going to be able to do very much about yourself. That notion of mess ends with that second S. Be respectful of yourself. Give reverence to that self. There's a colleague whose name translates as true dedication. She works with Thich Nhat Hanh. And I'm going to just use the English translation because I can't even begin to approach the words for her name. You know, Thich Nhat Hanh, people have heard the name, so I can say that name. But she works in his community. So Sister True Dedication writes, in our society, there are those who can't breathe because they are sick, and those who can't breathe because the air is polluted. And there are those whose breath is cut off by the violent injustice of systemic racism and inequality. There's an immense source of suffering for humanity and for the presence. There's a profound connection between how we treat one another and how we treat our earth. When we see ourselves as connected to everything else, it calls us to respond in a different way. If we look out on the world and don't care about it, it's because we've cut ourselves off. We've landed in our sense of self as not enough. Again, the whiny people that I complain about, the people whose actions seem very selfish, they can't see themselves connected to the people to whom they are committing harm. And I have to really rise above myself to give a care about them rather than just shaking my fist and being angry. To include them in my compassion. So as I look at the closure of a federal organization that has given for the care and uplift of many people. Oh, we're going to shut down that program because it was doing stuff for people with AIDS in Africa. Why do we care about people with AIDS in Africa? we care about babies with tuberculosis? Why do we care? Because that tuberculosis, stopping it, changes the course of the disease. Stopping the AIDS in Africa, halting its progress, protects everyone on the planet. The care about the cancer research is care that affects the whole world. So, be a mess. Let your mind, let you embrace, let you start, and let yourself be embraced. So no matter the mess that you wake up with and you look at it, you say, ugh, know that you are already enough. So I have an affirmation for us. New affirmation for Phyllis for your jar. I embrace all life knowing I am enough. I embrace all life knowing I am enough. I embrace all life knowing I am enough. And finally, I embrace all life knowing I am enough. And we're going to close out with a song by Daniel Lamont. It doesn't have to show it. It's just.
There is more than enough in the universe that you created. There is more than enough on a planet of sacred design. There is more than enough for humanity made in your image. Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I'd go without? Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I'd go without? Your infinite love made me, made everything I see, and all that will ever be is your infinite love. Let my soul know the truth, whatever I choose to do, your infinite love will prove more than enough. There is more than enough in a universe that you created. There is more than enough on a planet of sacred design. There is more than enough for humanity made in your image. Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I'd go without? Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I'd go without? Your infinite love made me, made everything I see, and all that will ever be is your infinite love. Let the world know the truth, whatever we choose to do, your infinite love will prove more than enough. Your infinite love. everything I see is all that will ever be. Is your infinite love. Let the world know the truth. Whatever we choose to do, your infinite love will prove more than enough, more than enough, more than enough.
So it is. Oh, thought you could go.
It's okay.
Oh, then should I give you this back? Alrighty then. Oh, are we still filming? Okay. I need to end this. Seeing you have two parts now. So now we come to the time where